Today we address a topic that, while it may seem complex at first glance, is of considerable psychological importance: the distinctive personality traits of individuals who have a limited number of friends or who, at times, deliberately choose solitude. Contrary to the widespread belief that this condition indicates insecurity or an inability to relate to others, numerous studies in analytical and social psychology reveal that it can be an expression of inner autonomy, introspection, and psychological maturity. In a contemporary society characterized by a relentless cult of visibility and the compulsive search for approval through social media, the value of authentic connection has been replaced by an overabundance of superficial ties. Having numerous contacts is often perceived as synonymous with success and social adaptation. However, a closer look reveals how the ability to be alone can be an indicator of inner strength and profound self-awareness. It's no coincidence that many of history's most extraordinary figures, thinkers, artists, and scientists have led lives marked by chosen or inevitable solitude. For them, this condition wasn't a deficiency, but rather a fertile space for reflection, creativity, and an encounter with the most authentic dimensions of their own psyche. Contrary to what contemporary society would have us believe, loneliness is not a defect to be filled, but an inner space to be inhabited. It becomes a form of silent dialogue with oneself, a fertile ground where authentic thoughts and profound insights are born. In an age obsessed with social networks and follower counts, we tend to measure personal value by the quantity of interactions, forgetting that the essence of human relationships lies not in the number, but in the quality. Having many friends is not necessarily a sign of success. Often, behind that apparent crowd lies a profound lack of authentic connection. Those who choose solitude, or those who live it by natural inclination, perform an act of courage. Have you ever noticed that many of history's most exceptional figures, thinkers, philosophers, scientists, and artists, have found their purest source of inspiration in solitude? They have transformed silence into creativity, isolation into awareness, and distance from others into a deeper communion with the universal. Carl Gustav Jung, with his profound understanding of the human psyche, offered valuable reflections on solitude, viewing it not as a state of isolation, but rather as a necessary condition for the process of individuation, the path to the realization of the authentic self. According to Jung, solitude is not a lack, but an indispensable step through which the individual learns to distinguish their own inner voice from that of the collective. He wrote, "Loneliness does not come from not having people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to us, or from having to hold opinions that others do not share." This reflection reveals how solitude is not a symptom of weakness, but a natural consequence of authenticity. In this reflection, we'll examine 5 fascinating character traits shared by those who have few or no friends at all. And I assure you, after this analysis, you'll look at loneliness with completely different eyes. The first trait that the absence of friends can reveal is authenticity. Many believe that those who have no friends are weak or socially awkward, but in reality, this is often a sign of genuineness. Think about it. How many people today have the courage to be themselves fully? Most tend to please others or conform to social expectations. Those who have few friends, however, possess the rare virtue of remaining true to their essence, following their inner values and principles without being overwhelmed by collective judgment. As Marcus Aurelius stated, authenticity is the path to virtue. The habit of solitude forges an inner strength that allows one to remain true to oneself even under social pressure. Jung himself believed that those who follow their own inner path inevitably distance themselves from the crowd, and in this detachment they find not alienation but depth. The second distinguishing trait is independence. Those who have a small number of friends often develop remarkable emotional autonomy and the ability to not depend on others for their happiness. Look around you. How many people incessantly seek external approval or can't spend a single evening alone without feeling lost? Independent people, on the other hand, know how to make decisions, tackle problems, and take responsibility for their own lives. In a world trapped by social conventions, independence represents a form of authentic freedom, the freedom to pursue one's goals, live by one's own rules, and find fulfillment within oneself. For Jung, only those who can be alone can listen to the voice of the unconscious and understand the symbolic language of their own soul. The third trait is selectivity, which shouldn't be mistaken for arrogance, but rather interpreted as a sign of wisdom. Having few friends can mean having high standards in human relationships. One doesn't seek connections to fill a void, but consciously chooses people with similar values and depth. While many accept superficial or even toxic relationships out of fear of loneliness, the selective person knows how to recognize those who enrich them and those who drain them. In a world that settles for any company so long as it doesn't leave us alone, selectivity is a form of self-defense and a sign of inner strength. Better to have a few genuine friends who understand and value our essence than many who only generate noise. Just as a great chef carefully chooses a few excellent ingredients rather than filling his kitchen with mediocre products, so the selective manage their relationships with discernment. The fourth revealing trait is introspection, one of the most fascinating and rare qualities in the contemporary world. The absence of many friends fosters the development of the ability to delve deeply into one's inner universe, as if one had access to a secret library of thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and emperor, considered self-reflection an essential tool for personal growth. Jung similarly stated that your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. He who looks outward dreams. He who looks inward awakens. In an age where most people are outward-looking, constantly distracted by social media, news, and trends, those who cultivate introspection possess extraordinary power. While others seek answers outside themselves, those who reflect inwardly understand that the greatest truths arise in the silence of the mind. This awareness represents the most authentic form of emotional intelligence and transforms solitude into a fertile internal garden that continues to flourish despite the chaos of the outside world. For Jung, it is precisely in these moments of introspection that individuals encounter their own shadow, recognizing the repressed parts of themselves and integrating them into the process of growth. Finally, the fifth trait is growth. A lack of friends can indicate a state of evolutionary maturity. As Seneca stated, resistance is the opportunity for virtue. Those who experience solitude not as a burden but as an opportunity reach a higher level of awareness and a deeper understanding of existence. While most people remain trapped in appearances and superficial perceptions, those who embrace solitude develop maturity, wisdom, and clarity. It's like observing the world from the top of a mountain while others remain in the valley. The perspective is broader, clearer, and more enlightened. This growth is not accidental, but the fruit of the ability to transform isolation into evolution, solitude into spiritual elevation. Jung called this process the transcendent function, the ability to unite internal opposites, light and shadow, reason and emotion, generating a new, more integrated and harmonious awareness. In an age when many remain trapped in narrow mental patterns, these individuals stand out for their constant transformation and striving toward a higher level of being. In closing, I wish to express my most sincere and profound gratitude. Your presence, your attentive listening, and your inner openness represent much more than a simple gesture of attention. They embody an invisible bond that unites souls seeking truth and awareness. This meeting, albeit virtual, is a silent communion between like-minded people, a resonance that transcends words and takes root in the heart. If you recognized yourself in these descriptions, know that you are not alone. You belong to that select circle of individuals who choose depth over the surface, inner growth over the noise of the world, awareness over conformity. Within you lives the desire to evolve, to understand, to expand your consciousness to the point of transforming solitude into a sacred space of connection with the self. Spread this awareness to those who might benefit from it. You could be the spark that awakens a path of consciousness in a soul still searching for meaning. If these words have touched something deep within you, leave a mark of your passing. Subscribe and continue to nourish your mind and spirit with content that inspires growth and introspection. I am deeply grateful to you. May this wisdom spread like a wave of light, capable of touching and transforming ever more hearts and thoughts, so that solitude is no longer feared, but recognized as a path